Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is JP Erickson. Today in the chair I've got with me Jessica Cho, who's going to tell us a little bit about what she does here in the industry.
That was my...
You should start.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, it's totally fine.
Take two.
For those of you guys who don't know JP, he's been on Cutthroat Kitchen and Food Network Star, and he is a production coordinator on all of these shows. So yeah, how did the Lord lead you into this industry?
Yeah, a great question. What's so interesting is I think so many people who get into the industry like I did as a production assistant, which is your bare minimum, your garbage taker outer, your maker of coffee, your driving of people. That's where I started, and I started to kind of slowly make my way up from there. Working as a coordinator, but now actually moving into the technical side, seeing these guys with these cameras and like this is what brings me joy now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But getting to be a coordinator, it really allowed me to, you get to know the crew, you get to know the people, you get to know the whole process that kind of goes into that. But yeah, but you ask, how did the Lord kind of lead me into this? Yeah. When I was, let's say young, my dad used to always use a little handy cam video camera. His eyesight has never been very good, and he actually would use that to see the world. It would just help him, zoom in during our baseball games or get to watch me on stage when I would play Jesus in some church musical or something like that. And I would often ask my dad as a child, could I borrow that? Can I use that and tell a story? Can I use that to film silly things? And actually slowly but surely, I went to school then for film. I then got involved in a lot of film projects. I started just feeling the Lord kind of push me in that direction and really allow kind of storytelling in general to just be a way that I could show the gospel to people.
How did you get saved to begin with?
Ooh, so I used to attend a, let's call it a Christian sports camp. It was called Kanakuk.
Watch out now.
I know, be careful. But that kind of stuff though got me into like the Christian world when I was very young, and my parents would always bring me to church. And so I had the knowledge, I had the mindset of learning the Bible stories and understanding the Bible, but so much of it was story, None of it sank in, none of it meant anything. Right. Until I saw The Passion, which if people don't know maybe what that is, it's kind of the retelling of the death of Christ on the cross. But I saw it performed for the first time ever, and I actually saw someone playing the role of Jesus. I saw someone playing the role of Pontius Pilate and Barabbas, and suddenly these stories that I knew as a child came to life. Suddenly this Jesus character, and I put up air quotes because that's all he was to me, was a man. And I recognized that his death on the cross was not just a story that helps me understand what Christianity is, but his death on the cross was something that saved me. And it just made it real. And kind of from that point on, there were hurdles and struggles and sins and things that I still have dealt with. But it was at that point that there was a real turn in my life.
So being in the industry and being on set, being backstage, behind the scenes, when all the chaos, no one really, as actors, don't see all the work that happens before we get there.
So true.
So you guys are there at like crack of dawn, 5 in the morning, and I'm sure there's so much frustration and cursing and things being thrown, and I know I've heard, hurry the F up, and all that. Yeah. How do you remain at peace with the Lord through all that chaos?
It's not easy, to say it simply. I remember at first, even one of my first jobs when I first started out, I got to know some quieter people, we'll say, and I was like, oh, these are going to be my friends. They seemed kind of a little bit more removed from the chaotic side of what production looked like. And as I got to know them and kind of ask them, hey, when this job ends, what are you guys going on to next? And they basically went, oh, come with us. We've got plenty of work. We're going to go do pornography for a little while. And the money's great and you're going to love it. And I remember really being shocked by that answer because I just went, no, thank you. That is not the kind of world that I feel like I wanted to get into or get involved with. And so, when you say it's crazy and it's hectic, it's true. It's a world that I think for me as a Christian, I've learned that I want to be a part of it, but not to be of it, in the way that Christ calls us to be in this world, but not of this world. Right. And that was kind of one example, at least, of where you have to know what's true for you. You have to know when to pump the brakes. You have to know when there's certain projects or maybe even certain people that you maybe want to hang out with or you want to go work on and make money, but recognize that that's not going to be ultimately life-giving.
You were mentioning how before that there is this climb, right? Every door opens to another door, and you want to make your connections on set. So where do you think the Lord is calling you on this trajectory in your career path?
Yeah. I think, man, when you really sit down and think about it, you're just like, wow, where can the Lord take me with this? Where does he want? Right. Just kind of throwing a dart at a board and just seeing kind of where it sticks. I think, actually this today, what we're doing, the guys that are here with us, this is a perfect example. Like, I want to be a part of this kind of filmmaking, this kind of storytelling. And I felt like after my degree that I got as an undergrad, and after I got a year of training or so with crew, I felt passionate and I felt called, to get into the industry, but I felt that there was more. I felt that the feature films, the commercial, the reality TV, whatever you want to call it, that world was still very far from me and very distant. And I said, that's where people are pouring money into, people are spending hours watching it and consuming it. What if Christian film was like that? What if Christian film or even just edifying media was in that same way? YouTube videos, which we can sink hours into watching. What if we could see YouTube create a space where people could come and they could be lifted up, they could be encouraged, they could be inspired by, not having to watch a sermon or a church service, but being able to watch something like this, an interview with two people who are friends and are just talking about their passions and what they're into, and yet also how you can thread loving the Lord into that, and how that's such a key part of who we are and the lives that we want to live and everything. Yeah.
So knowing the camera department, it's very much a boys' club, right? There's like these big lumberjack men that are like, hey, give me my thing, and just yelling. And I feel that there's this sense of women aren't allowed kind of thing, or when a girl walks by, everyone kind of stops and doesn't know what to do, doesn't want to hit her or, bump into her or something.
Yeah.
So is there a time you can think of, or when you're on set, how is it different for you when you see women, or when you see someone possibly being disrespected or not treated with dignity as a person, even if their rank isn't high, if they're an intern brand new? How can you reflect Christ in that way?
Wow.
With equality.
Yeah, right? Be perfect all the time. It's
all
that
day,
simple.
every
Yeah,
day.
no, easy. The respect towards women, which is something I'm constantly seeking after, and something that I want to see in my profession uplifted, because I feel some of my best friends on set are women. You guys know who you are, and they're incredible. They're amazing at what they do, in a lot of cases better than how I do it. Yeah. I think that, again, so much of the camera department really is dominated by men. I'm part of that world, regardless of whether I'm part of the problem or not is irrelevant, because I'm a man. I'm just a part of it either way.
Amen.
It's hard because something that we use, on set is we have earpieces and walkies, and basically production cameras use what's called a PL, kind of a production line or a private line, and it becomes very derogatory. And again, the kind of people that I work with are incredible people, and guys that I love, guys that I've prayed with, guys that I've prayed over.
Wow.
But you put enough guys all together, that kind of stuff comes up, and that kind of stuff happens. And it's a shame that 2017, we're not past that. But it still does.
Locker room talk's over.
Yeah, right?
Really.
No, it's still, you still hear it, you still see it.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I don't like to participate in it. I'll admit I have been guilty of saying things that later I'm like, I'm not proud of that. Why did I make fun of that person? Or why did I say that in the privacy of whatever? What I can say, though, in that regard is a lot of times when jokes come up or when things happen, especially if maybe they're directed at me. I know that my girlfriend has come up as something we've talked about before.
Your fiance.
Oh, excuse me, my fiance. Thank you.
Me.
It's
Got
still
you,
new.
Marley.
It's still new. But this idea of, if she comes up or if they're talking about her or saying stuff like that, what I won't do is I won't engage with them, because a lot of times too, it's kind of like how wild animals will attack if they sense fear. If you just sort of stand back to it or just go, kind of say whatever, they don't want to talk about that anymore. It diffuses it, totally. Yeah. And a lot of times too, I'll chat with those guys later, not in a way to accuse them of what they've said, but I might bring something up. Sex is talked a lot about, and things like this and that. And sometimes I'll just pull a guy aside and just maybe ask him something. I'll be like, hey, you said this, and what did you mean by that? And
wow.
Without getting going too personal, sex talk comes up a lot. And so there are a lot of moments where myself, as a very inexperienced person in that world, can come at them and not be accusatory or judgmental or anything like that, but even say like, do you really think that way about sex? Like, is that how you view it? And it's like, oh, well, no,
Yeah.
like, of course not.
You know what I mean?
Like, not like with my, and sometimes it's like with my wife, like that'll be their response. And I'm like, oh, like, I didn't even know you were married. And it might be a small thing, but like, it does make people begin to think though a little bit more about maybe the way we say stuff or the things that we bring up. And yeah, I just think even the women that we do work with who are so incredible and so amazing, I think that they can even feel some of that, whatever you want to call it, male testosterone. And we just need to
domination feeling.
Exactly. We have to fight against it.
Well, thanks JP for joining me.
Of course.
Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit the like button below if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you. You guys can all come. You can all come.
We'll
you can
all see you there. Hi.
You excited?
You look great.
Oh, thank you. You look great. Stop
Thank
it.
you.
Oh,
Stop.
You're too
Don't
much.
stop.
You're too much.
Keep going. Yeah. I'm gonna change. I know. Sometimes, oh my gosh. What's that sound? I was like,
That was good. No, that was pretty. Woo!